All right, let's dive into the psychology of people who cut everyone off. And what if I told you it's not the weakness society makes it out to be? What if it's actually a sign of incredible strength?
You know exactly what this moment feels like. Your phone buzzes, you see their name light up the screen, and this time, something's different. A quiet little voice inside you just goes, "Nope, not anymore." And you just let it go.
And the craziest part? What comes next isn't what you expect. It's not this wave of guilt or loneliness. It's peace. Just this profound, quiet sense of relief. And that feeling, right there, goes against everything we've ever been told about what it means to disconnect from someone.
So let's be real for a second. You weren't always this person, were you? Remember when you were the go-to, the 2 a.m. phone call, the one who soaked up everyone else's drama like a sponge? So what happened? When did that switch finally flip for you?
See, that moment, that wasn't you breaking down. Far from it. That was your brain, your body, doing exactly what it's designed to do. It wasn't a failure at all. It was this deep, biological self-preservation system finally kicking into high gear.
And this isn't just some vague feeling, it's actual neurology. There's a whole psychological framework for it called the Polyvagal Theory. It basically explains how our nervous system has these different modes it can shift into to keep us safe and, functioning.
So think of it like this. Most of the time, we're in social engagement mode. We're open, we're connected, we're giving our energy out. But when your battery gets drained one too many times, your brain literally flips a switch. It puts you into what's called the dorsal vagal response. It's basically a low-power mode, a total shutdown, a strategic withdrawal to save what little precious energy you have left. Okay, so the big question is, where did your nervous system even learn to do this? When did it first get the memo that some people are a threat to your energy? Well, for a lot of us, that blueprint was drawn way, way back.
I mean, does any of this ring a bell? You were reading the room before you could even read books. You became an expert at scanning a parent's face the second they walked through the door. You learned, fast, that one person's mood could change the entire atmosphere. You learned that closeness could be dangerous, that love often felt unpredictable. It came with a hidden price. And you did what you had to do to survive.
There's actually a clinical term for this whole thing. It's called emotional cutoff. It's basically a coping strategy a kid learns to create distance, emotional, even physical distance, just to protect themselves. So this pattern you're seeing in yourself as an adult, it's not some new flaw you've developed. It's an old survival map drawn by a much younger you who is just trying to feel safe.
Okay, and this brings us to a really, really important point, because there is a massive difference between protecting yourself and just isolating yourself. We have to talk about the difference between building walls and setting boundaries.
See, walls are built from fear. They're big, they're dumb, and they keep everyone out. The good, the bad, everybody. But boundaries? Boundaries are smart. They're built from self-awareness. They have gates. They're selective. They don't isolate you, they protect you. And that feeling of peace you get after you finally cut someone off, listen to that. That's not guilt you should be feeling, that's data. It's your entire system giving you a high five for finally enforcing a healthy boundary.
Now look, the stakes here are incredibly real, because true isolation, the kind that comes from building those walls, it has serious physical consequences. I mean, the CDC found that prolonged social isolation can increase your risk of heart disease by a whopping 29%. And get this, it doesn't stop there. It also bumps up your risk of a stroke by 32%. So this isn't just about feeling lonely. This is a critical health issue. And that's exactly why knowing the difference between healthy, protective solitude and harmful, walled-off isolation is, it's everything. All right, so I want us to completely reframe this whole thing. What if this tendency to cut people off isn't a flaw? What if that hyper-aware system you built as a kid to survive has actually evolved into a kind of hidden superpower?
I mean, think about it. You're not just cutting people off at random, are you? No. You're doing it because you have become an elite pattern recognizer. That friend who only ever hits you up when they need something. You saw that pattern coming a mile away. That family member whose compliments always have a little ask attached to them, you know their whole script by heart. Your brain isn't broken. It's a highly sophisticated social supercomputer.
And guess what? There's hard science to back this up.
A recent study found that people who went through a lot of emotional stress early on have super heightened activity in the brain's threat detection centers. Your frontal lobe is literally working overtime on this stuff. So no, you're not being paranoid. You are processing social data on a level most people can't even begin to imagine.
So I really want you to let this sink in. That gut feeling, that little alarm bell that goes off in your head when something just feels off, that's not you being too sensitive. That is thousands of hours of data collection refined into a high-tech, super accurate early warning system. And the best part? You finally started listening to it.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. It's about finding a new language for what you're doing. Because, let's face it, society has a lot of ugly words for people who need their space. Loner, withdrawn, cold, but those words miss the entire point.
Let's draw a line in the sand right here. Loneliness is the painful absence of connection. It's something that happens to you. But solitude is the joyful presence of yourself. It is something you choose. You're not sitting by the phone, miserable, wishing it would ring. You're enjoying the quiet, finally able to hear your own thoughts for once.
And maybe think about it this way. You're not running away from people. You're running toward something. You're running toward peace, toward clarity, toward the version of yourself that simply cannot thrive in constant chaos. What you've created for yourself, that's not a prison. That's a sanctuary. So if you have ever felt for 1 second that there's something wrong with you for guarding your energy this fiercely, I need you to hear me. You are not cold. You are not heartless. You just learned, probably the hard way, that your energy is precious and not everyone deserves access to it. And choosing, deliberately, to build a life that feels peaceful instead of chaotic, my friend, that is not weakness. That is one of the most quietly fierce things a person can ever do. So I'll just leave you with this. There's this famous 75-year Harvard study on what makes a happy life. And you know what they found? It wasn't money or fame or even the number of friends you have. It was the quality of your relationships. So if your circle is small, but it's full of the right people, and your life is finally peaceful, are you really doing it wrong? Or is it possible you're finally doing it exactly right?